Hey, so it's early enough that I can actually make a proper video and edit it and upload it in time. Yay! So this is going to be sort of a multi-part video because I tried to do one take and it was taking forever for me to get to my point. I'm going to be addressing a question I've been getting a lot since I started this project, which is how I've navigated being dark-skinned in Malaysia. And I'll talk about it mostly in terms of trying to get involved in the media because that's where that effect has been strongest for me, like both in trying to be in the media industry and also just in general how the media treats dark-skinned people. I know if you're looking at me right now, and I don't know if it's just me naturally or the lighting, it might look like I'm not particularly dark-skinned, especially if you compare it to someone who is from African descent or someone who is South Asian or even like just a ton of brown people around the world are probably tons of shades darker than me, and I'm more middle of the range. But in Malaysia, I am darky, darky. If you are not fair as the driven, non-existent snow, you would are, and thus I was. Thus me being called Kaling, which I have mentioned before, is a really horrible slur for dark-skinned people that tends to only be applied to certain South Asians because it's a cover for racism, but that's a story I've already covered. I grew interested in being part of the media industry since I was a teenager, and I found just about every facet of it fascinating. Like I started as a fan of a couple of music channels and made fan websites for them, and then got into print journalism, and then eventually even started writing scripts for one of the TV channels that I was a fan of. And along the way, I've been long interested in performing and presenting and being on stage or on screen. I would try auditioning for stuff like Malaysian Idol or making videos for like different hosting gigs or whatever. What I found in Malaysia, and really like a lot of the Asian countries, is that if you want to be in the media as a presenter role, as a forward-facing role, it didn't even really matter how good you were, how interested you were, how skilled you were, how practiced you were. First and foremost, what mattered is how you look. And by how you look, they usually mean fair and lovely. I already had the fact that I am darker skinned against me, and then I had all the acne scars, and I'm short, and I don't look very feminine. Like, I get misgendered for male all the time and still do. So I was already gonna lose out on trying to get into the media. And having worked in it for a while, I knew that it wasn't just me being paranoid. I mentioned before that I started working as a scriptwriter for a major music channel in Asia. And I was a pretty good scriptwriter, all things considered. But what I found, having worked as a scriptwriter and a PA, was that the VJs, so many of them could not ad-lib for the life of them. But despite me having better ad-libbing skills and actually bothering to do the research, they would be on screen. Why? Because they were Eurasian. And the reason this is important probably stems from when Malaysia, at least in Malaysia, I don't know how this worked in the rest of the world. At one point, they had a ban on foreign actors in advertising. So if you want to advertise something in the Malaysian media, you had to use local actors. So what people did to get around that was to hire Eurasian actors. So you were European enough or white enough to look exotic and foreign, but you weren't so exotic that you were unrelatable. And it was such a thing that in 2001, Time magazine had a cover feature called the Eurasian Invasion. Let me put it this way. Mindy Kaling would not have been able to get a TV show Asia, despite her being South Asian, because she's too dark. People would just use her last name and turn that into a slur and mock her for it. Another way you see dark skin being maligned in Asian media is my mom used to watch Indian soap operas, and you would see on the woman foundation mask like around their face. The foundation was always 2 or 3 shades lighter, and that was normal. If they ever had a dark-skinned person, there's a big deal being made about this character being dark-skinned. One of the soap operas my mom used to follow was kind of a Cinderella story, but the whole point was that the Cinderella figure is dark-skinned, and yet she manages to find the guy and get riches and blah whatever despite her dark skin. Her dark skin is made to be an obstacle that she somehow surmounts. So that's kind of the setup of trying to be dark-skinned in Malaysia. Your only representation is as some sort of downtrodden character, or you are the before photo in Fair and Lovely ads. I find it actually kind of ironic that it was far easier for me to get a TV job or be photographed for a magazine in the Western world than it is for me back home. And I'll talk about that in a future video because this is already getting too long. But that is where I started from, coming from a country where having anything darker than this is horrible forever. If you want to follow this saga of the dark skinned person or my general skincare saga, subscribe to my channel, follow me. I'm posting all of this on Give It 100, on Patreon, on Tumblr. It all cross-posts to Twitter and Facebook. All the links are down there, or if you're on mobile, on one of the sides. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me wherever you can find me, and I will get back to you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!